The cold bids farewell in slow silence, and a new cycle awakens with the wind. The first ray of light appears between the trees in the village of the brown fox. Soft voices, doors open, a new day dawns after a winter that also changed. The snow yields to the touch of the sun. Firm steps on new ground. The green breeze no longer wanders. It has found a home, found its peace. Spring has arrived in Ereahin and brought life back at last. Where there was cold and loneliness, today unity flourishes. New paths will form, old pains will heal, and under the same endless sky, a new time lives in Ereahin. The rivers awaken, free to flow. Lakes reflect the sky reborn. Hunters depart without fear. The earth breathes a new warmth. Among the trees, life returns. Creatures emerge from where they hid. And in the ancient instinct of the season, the cycles of the world are guided once more. Spring has arrived in Ereahin and brought life, return at last. Where there was cold and loneliness, today unity flourishes. New paths will form, old pains will heal, and under the same endless sky, a new time lives in Ereahin. In Valenport the wind has changed. It no longer cuts as it once blew. The streets gain voice again, and the cold bows before the turn. Footsteps echo, the city awakens. Open gates, hope nearby, and between walls of stone and light, a new time also shines. To the south, the heat never left, but even there something expanded. It's not change, it's continuity of the eternal cycle of reality. Spring has arrived in Ereahin, and united destinies that hung by a thread. From the frozen north to the endless south, life returns strong and subtle. And between villages, kingdoms, and beyond, a new beginning belongs to those who survive the winter at last. the gray sky, slow steps carrying time. The sound of victory doesn't quite ring out, for there are names that will not return. The wounded follow, silence among brothers, lost cases, blood on their hands. Each step weighs more than steel, each memory a new weariness. Lever resists, still standing, but the pain she carries no one sees. Valeriana observes in quietude, guarding her strength, maintaining her virtue. Without songs, without glory upon arrival, only open doors for those who went to fight. Valiant one sees and begins to understand what was needed to survive. Honor in Valenport echoes in the air, not for the gold, nor for the fighting, but for those who fell voiceless, and for those who returned for us. Between walls of stone and light, the weight of war still leads, but names will be remembered beyond, for all they faced as well. In the central hall, the rage and is present. The silence waits before speaking. Leverer recounts what happened, and the gaze of the leader faded. But then, gesture of gratitude, he turns to the one who came from the north. Then Valeriana called forward, under the watchful gaze of everyone. Not by contract nor obligation, but by courage amidst the darkness. Sometimes fate decides to intervene when legends meet to explore a world. Valenborg breathes thunder, golden light between walls, echoes of the people. In Sol Corrente the night is made between soft laughter and glasses at peace. Valeriana sits, gaze distant, lever ahead, firm and steady between words and a gentle smile. They know that time will divide. In the tavern where destiny hides, four paths meet without a name. What was chance begins to change, and a new direction begins to call. Between steel, magic and vision, a new direction is born. And what was a solitary journey, finally it can become something greater. Like this, Valeriana finally forms a group to tread. Believer cannot participate in Valenport is her place. Steps enter, change the atmosphere. Looks turn without disguise. It's not just presence, it's something beyond, something that few recognize as well. Ranger marked by the road, and by his side an enchanted presence. Ancient eyes from another place, an elf that few can look at. Whispers at the tables, hushed voices. How long has it been since we've seen these lives? But they didn't come to impress. They came for something that was calling. And then their eyes meet there. Vague memories begin to surface. Have we met before? Or is it just an impression? Destiny responds in silence then. In the tavern where destiny hides, four paths meet without a name. What was chance begins to change, and a new direction begins to call. Between steel, magic and vision, a new direction is born. And what was a solitary journey, finally it can become something greater. Like this, Valeriana finally forms a group to tread. Believer cannot participate in Valenport is her place. May I? The voice breaks the air. Veil leans in as he approaches. Helindra observes, calm and precise. There is something in both of us that the world analyzes. Libera just watches in silence, but feels the weight of that moment. Valeriana understands without hearing. That night will not repeat. Words exchange, intentions in the gaze. Stories begin to align. It's not a proposal, not yet, but The snow yields to the touch of the sun, and impossible to accept. Cutting words, poison in the air. They provoke, they test, trying to break. But those who know the game know how to hide. And even in weakness, choose to appear. And in the theater of the mind and pain, there are those who pretend to fall, to understand the oppressor. Brisaverde fell, echoes again amidst lies that hide the maybe. And in the depths of doubt begins to be born. Those who remained can no longer answer. Almost a step, almost the end, almost the steel speaking for itself. But silence was what decided, and the blade did not open. Without farewells, without looking back, she simply continues without ever saying. And among shadows that remain underground, no one won, but something was lost then. Where the earth meets the sky, we remain. Endless plains singing under the sun that insists on staying. There are no walls to hold us back, no kings to tell us who to be. We live where the wind blows, we pitch tents at dusk. And when the earth calls for change, we are the first to obey. It's not escape, it's choice, it's not loss, it's living. Each step we take is a world reborn. We are children of the horizon, of silence and thunder. We carry time on our skin and immensity in our souls. Our body free on the ground. Between instinct and reason, we don't seek to dominate. We only want to continue. There is strength in the blood that calls, in the claw, in the leap, in the flame. Some hear more than the wind and feel life pulsing from within. Eyes that see like a falcon, arms with the strength of a bear in action. Steps light as prey, and a heart firm in uncertainty. We are not druids, nor children of common magic, but the earth knows us and answers to song. We are children of the horizon. what lives between.